Hello, let's talk about research for public relations writers this week. Again, everything is there in your textbook. I'm just summarizing whatever is already there. So, when you talk about public relations research, the main purpose of research is answer the question. First, you come up with a research question and you will try your best to answer the research question. That is what research is all about. You always need to have a plan for research. What is the policy and purpose? You look for that. You look for background material. You know who is your audience, and then you compose message, and also you will you will know which media you will be reaching out to send the message out, and then the program evaluation. There's a steps, the idea steps taken before making any decisions. The abbreviated form of awareness, interest, desire, and action is AIDA. You need to have the awareness of the subject and the interest and desire, and you take the action. And the idea behind the research that you do is persuasion. The role of persuasion is very crucial in your peer material. And what you do before and during research is you do the cost benefit analysis. If that comes out to be okay to go or good to go, then only you will start doing the research. You also will be researching the kinds of people regarding the product that your company you represent produces. And also you will look out for the reliable sources for your research. Because if the sources that you have used for your research is not reliable and credible, you cannot make your research more persuasive. And then the audience or the publics out there would not be willing to buy your idea. So these are the pre-writing checklist. I copied this from your textbook. So I cited it from there. So you will read that there as well. And as you go talk about research for peer writers, you need to have the mission statement, which basically establish the scope and also discusses the fundamental purpose of the organization. And you need to know the goals, and your goals should be measurable, and also it should explain the quantities or percentage to be achieved, and also the deadline or the amount of time for accomplishment. That way you can make your goals more measurable and concrete. For example, if you have this goal like enhance our public image, this is a very weak goal because it does not give a clear idea what it really means. But you can make this goal a stronger one, like this one. Improve recall of important facts about our organization from 3 to 5 among key media representatives by June 1st of next year. So this statement as a goal kind of covers pretty much everything. Okay, it talks about what is being measured, also talks about the starting point or base against which to measure, quantities or percentage to be achieved, and a deadline or amount of time for accomplishment. So these need to be there when you are writing a goal. And then you also define and segment publics in terms of demographics and psychographics of lifestyles. It's not only about the age group. You research about age group or the men and women, or or other kind of in terms of gender and age, but also in terms of what they think or how they perceive or what their attitudes are, their lifestyles. So that will help you make your research even more effective. So your objectives need to be relevant, realistic, specific, measurable, and timely. So you read it, which is in the book as well. And there are different types of research: quantitative research and qualitative research. Even under quantitative research, you have primary and secondary sources. And under qualitative research, secondary and primary sources. Quantitative research involves more digits and numbers and all kind of maths and statistics and data. Qualitative has more to do with the words and ideas and things like that, and the theory and the methods you use. And even in terms of sources, whether that be quantitative or qualitative or primary, secondary sources, there are so many sources out there that you can gather the information. The internet, recordings, library, reference, bibliographies, public records, government documents, company websites, and also, it's part of your primary sources. You can also, interview people, and there are also different types of interviews, focus interviews and survey, things like that, and field visits and so on, right? So these are the sources for your research. So it's part of the assignments this week or next week. You will end up interviewing people out there also, and also you will be forming some interview questions, most probably as a part of this week assignment, I think. So these are the checklists for interviewing, what you are supposed to do before you interview someone. If you go for an interview, if you interview somebody else before that, what else you need to do. Okay, these are some of the checklists, so please read them. And also, checklist for research protocols, that is there in your textbook as well, so I'm not gonna read that here. And when you write a position paper or writing a profile, especially we're gonna talk about both. A position paper is more about how you position your company. You have to have a background and what position the side that you take on, and then you consider both sides, the positive, negative sides, or the counter arguments, basically argument, counter argument, and also you discuss that on behalf of the publics and the recommendation, and you have a special format and the special usage. That is how you write a position paper. But as part of your assignment this week, you'll be thinking about writing a profile on someone, for which you will also pitch a query letter. Which I'm going to discuss in a little bit, but this is a format of writing a position paper, which is in your textbook, so please take a look at it. And then this week you will pitch a query letter as a first draft, and also you need to submit it by Thursday this week. And then and by the end of this week, you will give your feedback to your peers, and then based on your peers' feedback, you'll revise it and then submit your final draft query letter. So when you pitch your query letter, you will be pitching based on the profile, on someone that you'll be writing soon. You'll be interviewing the person and you'll be writing a profile on that person. The idea behind this is that the company you represent or the company you work for, there might be a CEO or a manager who has done some interesting things, and you might want to interview that person and then publish it in a newspaper or a magazine. Or there might be so many thousands of newspaper and magazines out there, which might be the publication for the particular the content that you compose. So you need to know which media, which print media, which magazine or the newspaper, which one is the right publication for that profile that you write. So think about that. And after you know about all of these things in your query letter, you need to include these things. First, you need to have a good idea. You need to know the market, and then have angled article idea for the market and have the appropriate expertise and experience. You bring these ideas in your query letter when you write. First, you need to address the magazine or newspaper where you want to publish that profile, because usually when you have a content with you or an article, you need to pitch a query letter for a newspaper or a magazine, explaining what type of article it is. So if the editor of that particular newspaper finds it quite useful to be published, then he or she will tell you, okay, send that article. Okay, so and then when you pitch a paragraph or lead, and you talk about the article profile description a little bit and detail, and also you bring your bio and credentials explaining why you are the right person to write that profile. and also you provide the conclusions and then your contact details, salutations, sincerely at the end of that query letter, and you proofread and edit your query and send your query, and you wait until the editor of that particular newspaper or magazine gets back to you. So it's a query letter format. This is basically a query letter, especially someone wrote to the publication, not the newspaper or this and that, but it's especially it's about a memo or a book. The person wrote, and he wants to make sure that the publication will like his uh, the memo based on the query letter that is the person wrote this query letter. So this is just an example, but here is a profile format. As you start working on someone's profile, you might want to know how to write a profile, and first you need to interview. So this is what I did when I was doing my master's in professional writing at Kansas State University. I was given a task to write a profile. Before that, I had to do some research on the subject, and then come up with some interview questions as well. And then I interviewed the person here. I wrote a profile on, and then this is what I wrote it. That was in 2008. So I have also uploaded this on Georgia View. If you want to read it, you can read it and have an idea. So that's it. That's what I have to tell you this week. So think about that. If you have any questions, please send them my way. Okay. So great. Thank you.